Hello, everybody. I'm Maria Ressa. We have been doing a lot of news about how horrendous, how tragic, how crazy and lonely the world has become, right? But I wanted to meet this group of women who, at the beginning of the lockdown in Manila, saw something that needed to happen immediately and in a chat group made it all happen. This is today, we have gotten, on Wednesday, we have gotten the 100,000th PPE that was purchased and then brought all the way to Cebu, to the hospital in Cebu. The women who made this happen, the Towns Foundation, and let me introduce you to them. Dr. June Lopez, she is a doctor by training, a psychiatrist by profession, and I'm told a rebel at heart. Uh, with her, so this is her first idea. With her is the former head of RITM. She's also a Towns Foundation. She's a Towns awardee from 1992, Dr. Medi Saniel. These two women had the idea and then roped in. Here's our next generation of Towns. You have for purchasing Sab Ongkiko, who also was pre-med, but then got lost in the public school system of the Philippines by choice. And then you have, for the logistics end of this, getting it from after it's been purchased all the way to where it's supposed to go. Isa Lorenzo, everybody, we know Isa Lorenzo. She also was a doctor, then became an artist, then became a curator, and is now one of the top logistics people in the Philippines in lockdown. She can make anything move from one place to another. Ladies, it is so good to see you, literally.
Hi,
Hi.
Hello.
great to be here together with you,
Hello.
Maria.
So please tell us, how did this happen? June, Dr. Medi.
Well, maybe I can say I am the culprit. I'm a Facebook rat. I guess I watch everything almost so many hours a day, look at what's going on. And as the COVID lockdown was starting, I started getting news of doctors who were getting very, very sick. And it had to come close, very close to home. Because then I got news that two of my very good friends, one of them, the father of my godchild, the husband of my dorm mate in medicine, who was Dr. Raul Hara, had been intubated in the heart center. So it came very, very close to home. It was really hair-raising to hear those kind of news. And I said, my God, what are we doing? And why don't they have the necessary protective equipment? I'm not a biomedical specialist. I'm a psychiatrist. So I have the luxury of not being that exposed. And then I thought, who can I bring into this? I don't have the confidence because it's not my line. So I thought of my longtime friend and sometimes physician, infectious disease expert, Med Sanyel. She was just a little older than me, I think. She was my resident. And I said, Meds, what are we going to do? We have to do something. People are dying, our friends are dying. And it's really a terror to wake up in the morning and get the news that finally Dr. Raul Hara succumbed. And then the next one was Dr. Gatchalian, who is another good friend, almost a contemporary. So you just cannot, for sanity's sake, you cannot just stand and watch things happen. And for me, I was a simple call to Medi. And of course, my usual kaladkarins, they kaladkad me, and I also make kaladkad. I drag them into our projects and towns. It so happened we were having project with the youth on values development, and Sab was very, very active in that. And so first, the second person I thought of was Sab. I said, Sab, would you like to join me in this? And then I think at some point I threw the invitation to our official business bulletin board, our Viber group, and soon enough, very quickly, Isa was the third person who allowed herself to be dragged in this. And maybe all I can say is I've never experienced such an avalanche of support. People were skeptical in the beginning. Where were we going to get the personal equipment? Because there are no suppliers. But in no time, first of all, we had to think of someone or an organization that can receive the funds. Because in 1 week, I was shaking when I got our first check from the Chinese community. I've never seen a check that big in my life. And I had to deposit it in my account. So my bank manager said, you better get a certification on this or you'll get into the list of uh, the AMLA.
I'm like the money laundering.
Money laundering authority. I said, is there such a thing? Oh my God, this is not even my money. And yes, you better get. And so I got that from Towns and the UP Medical Foundation, our partner in this. So we split the job. UP Medical Foundation is a PCNC certified organization, SEC registered, like Towns, but Towns was not a health foundation, so it was not going to be, SEC compliant if we started getting money related to health. So the partnership bloomed between UP Medical Foundation and Towns. And I can say Towns in the beginning, well, even now, we are a motley group of feisty, sometimes crazy um, women of substance, but very busy women. But if we decide to do something, boy, really, you cannot stop us. And that's why we are at this point on our 100,000 PPE. And I can tell you in 5 weeks, we reached the 60 million peso mark. And I think people were just waiting. People were watching and seeing where they can put their money, offer their supplies. Private sector, I could guess that we were the first ones who moved in the private sector.
No,
Until the big corporations started giving us huge donations. And may I mention names? One department store who happens to be, they're not your patients, Isa, but told us, you can ride with us. We are ordering PPEs from China. Tell us how much you want, and we will give you some of that for free. No? And I think the breakthrough, and Isa will be the one to discuss this later, is when we got the Navy.
that's incredible.
That was really something. Because in the beginning, we were just targeting Metro Manila. And when Misha, our awardee, offered to link us to her institution, that really started the ball rolling. I think I will give the rest of the story to my kapwa crazy women.
Partner in crime.
Eddie, you are the chair of the UP Medical Foundation, former RITM head. I mean, please tell us, pick up the story. What went through your head when the pandemic hit?
Yeah. I'm also one of those long lost ladies of Towns, very inactive. So I was surprised when June called me up. And that was actually very timely because I was sitting pretty at home, getting increasingly frustrated because I was on isolation. I had been exposed to a patient who was confirmed to have COVID. And I was getting increasingly frustrated because I knew that my colleagues were starting to get this deluge of patients at the medical city. And I couldn't do anything. I'm also a senior citizen, and mortality rate among seniors for those who have COVID is much higher. So I was not allowed by my colleagues to see patients. So I was there getting increasingly frustrated, and I got this blessed call from June, and that actually activated me into again being really a part of towns. And yes, we were hearing about our friends and colleagues who were in ICU, and some have perished. And it was also very timely because I chair the board of the UP Medical Foundation, and it's PCNC accredited. It had all its papers, very transparent, very orderly. We mainly existed for the UP College of Medicine, but this was a very good opportunity to really be of service. If you follow the mission of the UP College of Medicine, it's excellence in education, in research and service, particularly to the underserved. So I thought that this was a very good opportunity for the foundation to be of help. And I also am very fortunate to be a member and past president of a very active organization of infectious disease experts in the country, the Philippine Society for Microbiology and Infectious Diseases. There we have a few hundred of them. We are spread out all over the country. We are the frontliners in this pandemic. We man both government and private hospitals. And you know, at the beginning, there were hardly any numbers that we could depend on in terms of other than NCR. Where was the pandemic? Where were the patients? What was going on? It was all very sudden. And I used actually my colleagues in the society, the infectious disease experts in the communities, as my sort of barometer. They were telling us where these patients are, these patients who were suspected to have COVID in various parts of the country, long before they could even be reported by the Department of Health. So I thought that this alliance was very strategic, and I'd really like to thank June for taking me in again. Uh, it has been an amazing whirlwind journey, and I never thought that I would be working with such amazing ladies. Made me feel young. So thank you, June, and I really am very glad that I'm part of this.
I think we
Yeah,
have a lot of.
may I jump in?
Go, Ju.
As the shall we say, the campaign went on, and we needed more and more people. I think one very nice way this evolved was it became a family affair. Um, of course, townswomen were so busy, had to continue work at home. So there were occasions when, okay, I will be joining, but can I bring in my daughter, my son? Dini Yu brought her son, Jillian and Danya. Tessie Angsi brought Mea Angsi and her husband, who are um, very digitally savvy. They they are the ones who have kept our records straight. They brought in this app Airtable. So at any one point, if you ask us where we are, how our money was spent, how many donations have come in, you just click one file that has been prepared, and they're even putting in maps of hospitals that we have served in the entire country. And also, of course, to uh, not to forget to thank one of our members, Jocelyn, who is one of our awardee for digital technology, who has also been so judicious and diligent in coming up with posters. And in fact, the 100,000 PPE Smart is her poster as well. So it has become that kind of an operation, and we have our funny moments. I have not been doing much really, but coordinating in the beginning and perhaps drag some people in. But perhaps Isa and Sab can tell you now that their teams are really working almost on their own. They are not needing any kind of instructions or um, orders from the core team, which is really the four of us. But I'd say there are jokes like someone would text me, Tess Yangsi is like our mother hen, and she would say, June, our people, our volunteers are working too hard. And you know that because I was spending 12, 14 hours on screen time just to make sure that things were going on in the beginning um, smoothly. And I can tell you, Isa and Sab are spending much more than that. And we had a member, Gang Badoy, who was COVID positive and still could not keep herself from being active with the group, so that the doctors had to give her strict orders to get offline. And then I had to give strict orders of curfew time, and we call it carpio time. That's the joke, carpio time. Anybody sends a message that is work related after 6 p.m., they get reprimanded. And then I remind them about self-care Sunday. But honestly, I don't think anybody is following my orders, and I'm one of the first ones to break it because the senior citizens, when they have an idea in mind, they don't want to forget, so they want to be able to post it right away. Not to say that it should be replied to, but again, that's pressure to our younger millennials, our colleagues here, who think that they should reply immediately to these senior citizens in the group. But
Nakaka-pressure po kasi, Miss Maria.
yeah, I tell him, no, no, when I post at 1 a.m., that doesn't mean you have to reply to me. It's just that I couldn't sleep.
Sab, why don't you go and tell us after? So, what was purchasing like, and how did you do it, and what did you
So,
learn?
well, actually, I'm a teacher, so I don't know anything about purchasing. But when Doc June asked nga if I wanted to volunteer, I thought talaga, and I'm willing to do packing of PPEs. As in, yun po yung una kong offer. And yun din po kasi yung ginagawa ko for the past relief operations for typhoons. I would always go to the centers and help pack ganyan. So iniisip ko yun lang. But then, because they needed parang someone who can help with purchasing, yung managing Excel files, ganyan. Parang, I think yung mas bata yun. So kami yun. So parang, yes, okay, step up, ganyan. And I think if you're given an opportunity to serve at this time, kukunin mo talaga. Kasi um, parang standstill po lahat eh. But and pwede naman talagang walang gawin, di ba? Pwedeng, pahinga ko na po to kasi summer break talaga naming mga teachers. But when you're offered an opportunity to serve, you get it. I have a lot of friends then po are doctors. I have friends na yung family members nila died from COVID. And we do this in memory of those people. And um, para din po sa mga frontliners natin. So yun. So purchasing, I needed to learn quickly. Ganon. So buti na lang I have the titas surrounding me. We call them titas, kaming younger ones. So parang pag nabanggit ko po bigla tita, I'm sorry. So kasi nasanay na po ako na tita, ganyan. So parang we have all these wonderful ladies in my team, si Tita Cheche Lazaro, Tita Mel Alonzo, Tita Nina Yuzon, Tita Olivia. So lahat po yun, talagang willing to go the extra mile, to call suppliers, kaya ang dami po naming nabili, kahit na walang mabili yung government nung time na yon, or sinasabi na kulang yung supplies, so we're able to get a lot because of will, and a lot of people helping in. So halimbawa, ang nakita ko po na sobrang inspiring in terms of yung supplies and mga suppliers na community, pag nakita nila na tumutulong ka, they give extra. talaga. So parang minsan magde-deliver silang ganyan tapos may extra. Parang, hindi po yun yung binayaran namin. No, 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 that's our donation. Parang ganyan. Tapos you also hear of people who want to support their own communities. Tapos we work together with them to get gowns, to get masks, ganyan. So nandun po yung tulungan. Other organizations would give us their supply list. We give our supply list to them para pag nagkakaubusan, try na to, try na to. So talagang isa siyang malaking bayanihan. Kaya din parang ang daming nakukuha. Yung 100,000 na yon wouldn't happen if not for people willing to help at this time, no? Yung parang, ano ba yung pwedeng magawa? Yun naman yung question, di ba? So, yun, people responding to calls, and willing to extend themselves. So, may time pa na parang even though yun yung kasagsagan ng parang ECQ, may mga volunteers na nasa labas getting parang yung supplies that we have to get from suppliers, sila yung magsusundo, dadalhin sa warehouse, mga ganyan. So, ang dami ko rin pong natutuhan sa purchasing, sa team na to, especially from the people in the team. Grabe din po sila. So, very, very
Sabi mo
grateful.
rin yung mga cliffhangers natin tungkol sa supplies.
Mga, yung,
Waiting for our supplies from China, yung na Shanghai sa Shanghai.
grabe, ang dami rin pong mga challenges kasi nararamdaman nyo rin po talaga yung effect ng bureaucracy, ng policies na hindi clear, so ang daming all of these things na in fairness, yung pandemic na to, lumalabas po talaga kung ano yung mga kailangan nating ayusin. So, parang kami, na-experience namin yun in terms of getting our supplies from outside, bringing it in, how the global pandemic really was parang affecting each and every country, especially, yun nga, if mag-aangkat ka, ganyan. So, so may mga supplies kami na hinihintay pa rin hanggang ngayon, no stock na. So call dun sa mga pwedeng tumulong to get things moving, ganyan. So, ang dami din po naming siguro parang mga mistakes we've learned also along the way na mabilis din naman naayos because we help each other. Ganyan. So, yun po.
Let's toss it to Isa. On the last end, it would be the last mile to get it from once it goes through here, it goes to tell us logistics. What happened? What did you do?
Thank you to Towns and to Doc June and to Doc Medi and to Sab, because this ride has been incredible. I mean, we think of ways we can help, but it's amazing when it's a whole team of people thinking and moving the same thing. I think in the beginning, what really moved me to move is because I'm a graduate of the UP College of Medicine. Though I am not a practicing doctor, I still feel very, very strongly about these things, the situation, especially when you really see that the government or the country is just at a standstill, you know? So the very first thing that we did was, I remember, was to start donations in kind and donations in cash. So Gang Badoy called me to say, wag mo ibigay yung number mo. Mamamatay ka. Kuha ka ng burner phone or burner SIM, tapos wag ka na yung mag-reply. Find somebody to do it. So I wrote in my assistant, who's been with me since day one. She's incredible. So she was manning that phone for donations. And the way we were doing it was when somebody had something to donate, we matched them directly with the hospital and they would donate to the hospital directly. And then it became more difficult. So it became our town's vehicles. So which was actually Cess Drilon's Ferin, her driver, and Cess herself would deliver. Other members of towns would deliver. And then we were also starting to accept donations in cash. And initially they would come in 50,000, 100,000, maya, million na. And it was really on the strength of towns and the trust that these people had in the transparency of our operation, and that the goods would definitely reach the right hands. And that's very important. I realize it now that I don't know if there's any other organization that can command that kind of respect and be held to an integrity so high that people will just give in the millions without any receipt even. So that has been an eye opener. And the other things that happened early on, well, three things that happened early on. First is this app called Airtable, which Maya and Orvin, who are the daughter and son-in-law of Tess Yangtze, brought in. And what it is it creates a platform for hospitals themselves to register, to put in the requests, as well as to log in their COVID load. So we know what they need in real time. The second thing that happened was Bahay Chinoy came online. So Bahay Chinoy, which is a museum in its original incarnation, but I think it has been a lifeline as a packing house and relief center for many, many calamities that the Philippines has gone through. So this is through, of course, Tess Yangtze and her wonderful team of volunteers who are manning the Bahay Chinoy. And they also call it Kaisa Heritage Center because that's the name of their group. And then the third thing that happened was Mishak Andres Martinez, who is our batchmate. So Sab, Misha, and myself, we are batchmates in
And
town.
Giselle.
And Giselle from 2016. Yeah. So when Misha just sent a message out of the blue saying, if you need anything delivered anywhere in the Philippines, let me know. So boy, we jumped on her so quickly.
Now let's turn our attention, Misha, to the help that you are doing in the delivery of PPEs to all corners of the Philippines through towns. If not for you, hindi maaabot ng towns ang Sulu, Tawi-Tawi, also northern part of the Philippines. So tell us how you got into that. Ano yung simula?
I'm part of the Viber group of towns, and I'm so blessed again to be part of the group of awesome and inspiring women leaders who have contributed immensely to the country towns. So since I'm a member of that group, I saw in one of the threads, I think that was sometime April, when there was a discussion about distribution of PPEs to hospitals, and my heart really was, I really was touched with what was happening in the country, wherein our doctors themselves and our healthcare workers are also victims of the COVID-19. And since as myself, I am a soldier, and I know that it's really hard to go out at war if you do not have the necessary tools and protection. I could empathize with what they are currently experiencing. So my heart was with them, so I wanted to help. Then when I saw that, when I saw the passion of of towns and their big heart for helping all the hospitals, and which is, I think, going 100,000 today. I was touched, and I really wanted to be part of that. Although it is a different endeavor, I wanted to help by the distribution of it. And since we have ships, we have also aircraft, but through the Air Force, with the support of my commanders, I was able to coordinate and ask their assistance in the distribution of this through the use of their naval ships at Sulu, in Zamboanga, in Visayas, and as well as in Davao and in Mindanao. And I would like also to make mention the Army, because the commanders in the Army are also very supportive. They would want to help also our healthcare workers. So they were also part of a team. So we were synergizing actually, ma'am, to help towns.
Not to mention the trucks also in Luzon.
Yes, ma'am.
And the
Yes,
personnel.
yes, ma'am. So with the assistance and full support of General Kapulitan, who is the commander of the Naval Reserve Command, his people, his men, officers, and enlisted personnel were helped towns in the packing and also in the distribution. So I could say that this is in synergy with a synergistic effort in helping towns, ma'am, because we are not anymore the frontliners. The healthcare workers are now the frontliners, and we're just the support. We're in the support role. So I really would want to. I have that passion in me. Same also with the armed forces to help really our healthcare workers, ma'am.
And Commander Misha, you were doing this remotely. You were commanding the BRP ang Pangulo, you were the skipper, and just somehow managed to do this by remote control.
Yes, ma'am. We're just so blessed that we have what we call a system, communication system. That's why, even though I am in Davao, I was able to coordinate with the respective commanders through channels. Through channels, I still observed the protocol in terms of request. So I still went through all the process, sending radio messages, calling through the respective operation center, and getting the support of our commanders, ma'am.
So the Navy came in and started to help us with deployment all around the country. And at that point, we also started receiving, the donors in kind became bigger and bigger. So SM Foundation, they donated 6 million pesos worth of PPEs, hazmat suits from China. Before any one of us, before anybody in the Philippines had hazmat suits, we were giving out hazmat suits. We had Coca-Cola Foundation giving us 5 million, was it? I think 5 million pesos, just on the strength of a phone call. Then the others started coming in, Apoitis Foundation, Gokongwei Brothers Foundation, and many, many more. Other donors in kind, of course, the bus lines and our transport groups, Victory Liner. Today we got Solid North bus lines. We also have LBC, Air 21, they've all stepped up. And this is really on the strength of phone calls. Doc Medi sends like a one-liner email, and then the whole 200,000 pesos is free. So there are things like that that are happening and still happening. Good morning from the Kaisa Heritage Center, Bahay Chinoy, here in Intramuros, where Towns Foundation has been conducting PPE distribution for the last 6 weeks. This is our packing house. Today marks the day wherein we have 100,000 PPE sets delivered nationwide. We have 340 hospitals who have been recipients of our PPE boxes. The contents of our PPE boxes are hazmat suits, N95 masks, diapers, headgear, eye goggles. This is for the enhanced suit. We also have light PPE sets, which are surgical masks, alcohol, and surgical gloves that we send to RHUs, or rural health units, nationwide.
Can you tell us about the 100th PPE? When did it leave Manila? Where did it go?
Yeah, so the 100,000th PPE, from the chain of everybody, that for even one piece, for one N95 mask to make it into a box, it takes much more than a village. It's a village and everyone they know. So these boxes, so our boxes are packed in Bahay Chinoy, and they are an assemblage of different PPE sourced from different places. So this particular batch of boxes, which represent the 100,000th PPE, is a combination of Liwayway, Oishi, PAL, and DTI donation with PPE like goggles and diapers and masks that we purchased with Pounds donations. Yeah, and then it was assembled on Monday here in Manila, and then we sent it off with the Navy to the PAL cargo area for a sweeper flight to Cebu yesterday, and today it was picked up by the Vicente Soto Medical Center in Cebu, which is now a hotbed for COVID. We also sent, over the weekend, we got a request from a nurse in the DOH Central Visayas Cebu COVID center, like a temporary COVID center. She was referred to us by Dr. Medi, and she asked for large-sized hazmat suits for so that their center could open, and we were able to add that to the shipment. So so today it was picked up in Cebu. We have the video, which you will roll. They're so happy because now, I mean, in the beginning we were giving, 50 masks, 50 suits. Now we're giving in the hundreds. So today in Cebu, Cebu City itself received about 400 hazmat suits from towns.
So I guess through all of this, we're entering week 7 of lockdown now. What did you learn for yourself? Let's go backwards. Isa first.
What did I learn? Don't be afraid to ask. Someone will help you.
That's great. Sab.
For me, aside from the technical stuff, like before I didn't know how masks are checked, but Doc Medi checks our masks. So even before we buy it from suppliers, she does quality checks. Tita Margie de la Rama, who's like an industry rock star sa textile, would check our gowns and cover. Also, all of those things I learned. But also that at this time, that there are parang not really learned, but relearned and witness how generous and giving people are.
You talked earlier about how you ran into all the problems that need to be fixed. What are some of those?
Well, dealing with suppliers also, and yung bureaucracy, like syempre parang, sorry, yes.
Fake equipment.
Sorry, fake
equipment.
Yeah. So yung mga parang hindi ko alam kung pwedeng ikwento yung iba, but pwede ba yun?
Yung scammer na at we're texting each other.
Yeah, so parang dealing with suppliers na syempre yung quality din. Kasi we want to make sure, Miss Maria, that when it gets to the hospital, they're not supposed to think, oh, okay ba to? Will this protect me? Pero talagang when it gets to them, we're sure na pag sinuot nila to, protektado sila. Kasi para gawin na lang nila yung trabaho, di ba? Yung service na ino-offer nila sa mga tao ngayon. So, we have to make sure talaga na quality. So yun, encountering suppliers na syempre parang hindi ganun ka-okay yung quality, substandard, ganyan. Tapos, dealing with, yun nga, parang mga red tape, sa customs, yung may hiningi ng certificate, binigay na, pero biglang all of a sudden may bagong policy that we need to show 2 certificates or something like that. So, meron ulit, kailangan i-produce ulit, so it's still there. Ganon. So, parang wish mo na sana mas madali na lang, pero syempre parang may mga, yun nga, natakot din kami dun sa idea na baka part ba kami dun sa kailangan ng permits and syempre yung mga ganon, 'di ba? Yung ganon, pero at this time baka dapat mas mabilis lang yung pagbigay ng tulong kasi yun naman yung kailangan. So we're not also trying to say na kami yung papalit sa dapat ginagawa ng gobyerno, di ba? Pero tulungan po talaga siya eh. So, isa dun sa mga insights ko siguro parang matagal na nating sinasabi na parang, or ako insight ko na lagi naman natin sasaluhin ng kapwa Pilipino. Parang hindi natin siya papabayaan. So, nung start na parang ang bagal-bagal nang nangyayari sa Pilipinas, parang wala nagsi-step in, Filipinos would step in. 'Di ba? Talagang will fill in the gaps. Hindi natin papabayaan yung isa't isa. Pero at the same time, we have to make people then accountable. 'Di ba? We have to say na parang hindi nag-work. We have to admit when systems are not working. So yun yung isa sa insight ko na oo naman, towns nandito and a lot of other organizations are stepping in. Pero we have to acknowledge what needs to be fixed.
Yes.
Yun, and that's a bigger job for all of us.
Medi, what did I learn? Nothing is impossible with towns. But really, seriously, you know, to date, about 1,500 healthcare workers have been infected. So in the
1,500.
Yes.
Medi, can you come closer to the screen or pull it down? Yes.
Yeah, that's 1 out of 6 being infected in the Philippines. 1 out of 6 is a healthcare worker. But you know, nothing is impossible. Hong Kong was able to make it 0 infection among healthcare workers. None of them got sick during work. And I think we should aim for that henceforth, and I think we've been able to help. There should be no healthcare workers who should get infected while working, so that they can serve better. They can serve better their patients. The other thing that I learned is never underestimate microbes. It has been a very humbling experience for me, an infectious disease practitioner. Never underestimate microbes and viruses. And I think we should get ready, just in case. I'm very anxious. We should get ready for the second wave, but hopefully not.
June.
Well, so hard to choose which lessons, but I agree with all that's been said. But for me, I guess it's a lesson on learning to trust. I've been so used to running my own life, running my own projects even, and having nobody to be answerable to. But when I got the first million check and put that in my name, I got really scared. And suddenly I had to be answerable. And Sab didn't share this, but I think we had a nightmare one night. We were exchanging when someone put down in Viber that this particular supplier has been found to be a scammer. And Sab and I were making multi-million decisions, like advancing a 4 million payment for supplies coming from China, you know, and learning to trust that we are not being scammed. So that kind of responsibility. But I learned that I'm not alone in this. And as I said, it's such a huge lesson. I'm not an organization person. I am a one-man person because I'm a professional. I'm a doctor. I don't have much experience running organizations. But the way this operation has mushroomed, we have a team for purchasing, we have a team for logistics, we have a team for resource generation, we have a team for helpline, and we have even a team for strat planning. And then the core team, which is the 4 of us. So it does get organized under duress and under all this. You can only think of one thing, and that is to make things work because they have to work. And I really have to trust people will do their jobs. It's really amazing. And like everyone else, it's been a ride. Can't imagine what we have accomplished in 7 weeks. And if people had not really put their will, their discipline, their commitment to this, we really would not have accomplished all of this. And really, it's in the heart. And I salute my sisters in towns because I think we were blessed with not only having the brains, but also having the heart.
Empathy, I think, right? Empathy, hard work, organization. Sab, you touched on this just a little bit where you said you have to state what the problem is. So Towns Foundation will do this for how long? Until the government takes over? Or, I guess stating what the problem is. You created this because you saw a need. When does it become a government accountability? What does Towns do next?
Doc June, Doc Freddy.
The conundrum, really. First thing our president asked me when I said, could we make this a formal project of towns? And she said, what's the exit strategy? And I said, really? We don't even know when that exit will be. And all we can say right now is we will try as much as we can to um, keep working, have the energy for the long haul, because no one really knows how long and how far this will go. And we are happy. I am working with jails, the BGMP myself. I've learned to trust them as well. I mean, I've been so cynical of anything that got anything to do with government. But Meds and I met 12 wardens yesterday, Meds, right? And they were impressive. So it really brings back some faith in those sectors that you thought were hopeless. So I think together, I am hopeful there will be an end to this.
Any of the three of you on this one? Were that balance? Go ahead, Isa.
Maybe when we run out of money.
Yeah.
That's or run out of donations. But we still have about 25,000 PPEs sets in the pipeline. Hopefully in the next 2 weeks.
Suffice it to say, we need the funds coming. We are not at the end of the campaign. We expect we will need more. There are, tama pa kung Meds, 300 or 400 hospitals all over the country.
There are more than 1,000.
And we have to emphasize, Maria, that this is consumables.
Yes.
They are not like we are satisfying the need of even one single hospital when we give them.
Yes.
What we give them. No less than we compute 60 to 100 PPEs, depending on the size of the hospital, that is needed per day. Per day. So there's really no way we can say we have done our job. There's no resting at the moment.
And addressing the need. So parang actually shout out din po kay Gang. Because hindi lang po PPEs yung ina-address niya through frontline feeders. She gives food then to frontliners. And she's been very generous na parang through frontline feeders, Rock Ed, and Towns, parang mas may extra arm pa kami through her. So yun, ang galing lang din po. So as long as there are people willing to help, and as long as there's a gap to be filled, I think Towns will be there.
Your last thoughts. Go, Isa.
We have, just to go back to the number of hospitals, 1,200 hospitals nationwide. Half are public and half are private. We have 900 hospitals who have registered themselves on our Airtable. And we have given to 347 out of the 450 public hospitals who have registered on our Airtable nationwide, from Batanes down to Sulu.
And I think it's incredible that those numbers are off the top of your head, right? This means you're working very, very...
This is what I do. In fact, the 7 weeks has gone by fairly quickly.
They're not senior citizens, Maria.
Actually,
So,
meron po akong staff that's who just graduated from senior high school who's helping out. So her
wow.
name's Julia. Yeah, very very efficient. So kami tumutulong sa mga titas.
Yeah.
So I think, can I say also, Maria? Maria,
Go
can I
ahead.
say also that, government has stepped up. It has.
Great.
And I think we should really help them and work with them. Among the tertiary hospitals of government all over the country, more than 95% of them have been equipped with PPEs by us. We have reached them. And among the secondary hospitals, I think more than half of the government hospitals. But they have really stepped up. And I think that we need to work together, government and private sectors.
We don't have a choice, right? This is also our survival. Your last thoughts on this, as we move forward, this world is going to be different. It will never be the same, I think, right? Even after we get a vaccine, we'll look for it. Your words of advice. This is, you've worked alone together. Your words of advice, how we will navigate this new world.
For me, of course, I'm always asked, and we run mental health webinars, so many of them in the last few days. And people ask me, why do I do what I do? And I say, for my sanity. We have to find some meaning in what's going on. And we have to find something meaningful to do in the smallest way. So we are not counting the days. We are not worrying whether we will catch the virus or not, or someone, a loved one will. We need to find a task-oriented attitude towards all this, because that's the only way to be focused on the present, to be in the here and now. And I think our PPEs campaign has done that for me. I hardly can think of anything else but look at my messages, and sometimes not stand up for 4 hours because you need to reply or even write up proposals, help reply to some potential donors. It can be physically draining even if you're not really moving much. But I think COVID should be seen as more of a mental health challenge than a physical one. I have interviewed Howie Severino, who survived COVID, and that's exactly what he said. That it was my mind that really helped me recover and survive this. And I think that's what is important to me. Find something meaningful, be task-oriented, how little it might be, declutter your place, or help volunteer, pack some food, look at crowdsourcing platforms. A lot of millennials are doing that and offering us to try and crowdsource for us.
Yes.
So there's a lot of ways to survive all this.
Sab, Medi, Isa, your
Well, for me po, ako ang iniisip ko na lang, yun nga po, after this will all be changed, no? But whatever we do now, kung gaano kalaki yung interventions na ginagawa natin ngayon, that will lessen the impact of what will happen when this is all done. So, as we are, parang ironic din na we're given time, but at the same time, parang kulang pa rin yung time to fix things. But we are given time. So, let's use this time to think of ways to improve and change. Actually, kasabay po ng gift of time is the gift of a new perspective on how we do things. Diba? Parang dati sinasabi natin, technology, parang it destroys relationships, communication na hihinder. But now, this is what we use to communicate and to feel the presence of each other. So parang it isn't as bad. And how are we going to use all of these changes to make our lives and the Filipinos' lives better after this, let's use this time to set up the system for that. No? Kasi pagkatapos ito, ilan ba yung mga taong nawalan ng trabaho? Ilan yung, 'di ba, mga frontliners na pagod after this and who needs rest, but we have to continue serving our population in terms of health. So parang ano yung pwede nating iplano ngayon para pagdating nun, meron agad sasalo. Parang, I guess in terms of advice, siguro hindi ako pinaka-authority doon. I'm a public school teacher, but that's my dream, I guess, at this time, na habang lahat ng tao may parang lumalabas din kasi mga gandang ideas, kunin natin yun, tapos makinig sa isa't isa. I think it also gave us time to listen to each other, and to be more open. So, ang daming opportunities kahit na ang dami ding limitations and challenges. So, mas ganun ko po siya tinitingnan.
Fantastic. Medi?
I think I am blessed. I'm very blessed to have been given this opportunity to work. We do this for healthcare workers, for our countrymen, but actually, to be forthright, I'm also doing it for myself. As June said, we find meaning in things that we do, and I think everyone should strive to do that. Continue to find meaning in living and in doing what you do.
Great advice. Isa, you're bringing it home.
Well, yesterday or the other day when I went to towns, and as we were saying goodbye to the loaded truck, everyone was in the Navy, and our staff and our volunteers, they were all standing in front of the truck, and the Navy saluted. And everybody saluted, the whole line, about 50 of them. They were all saluting in silence and with the flag waving. And it really brought home the point that this is why we're doing this. We're doing this so that our country can survive this. And moving forward, what I take from this is I want to be part of the solution. I think moving forward, things will change. We will be forced to really adjust our lives. And every day will pose problems that we never had before. But we should be part of the solution and find solutions so that that life can go on in as productive and as useful and as meaningful a way that it can.
Gosh, thank you. Thank you so much to not just the Towns Foundation, to Isa Lorenzo, to Sab Onkiko, Med Saniel, and June Lopez. Thank you so much for all the work that you're doing, and your last thoughts are incredibly inspiring. Towns for the win. Our nation for the win. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, Miss Maria.
Thank you.